And welcome to The Verdict. I'm Kent Myers. Mick Cornett is not here this week, but I promise you he will be back next week. That is assured. Thank you for joining us today. We have an awfully good show and a very timely show that I think you're going to enjoy. We are really pleased to have back the Chancellor of the Regents for Higher Education, Dr. Glen Johnson, to talk to us about what's going on in higher education in Oklahoma in these very difficult economic times. Dr. Johnson will be on the set with us when we come back from a break, but he is certainly eminently qualified to lead the Regents for Higher Education, and he is doing so in an exemplary fashion. We're really pleased you joined us today. I think you're going to find this show interesting, so stay with us. We'll be right back with Dr. Glen Johnson.
A greener planet, cleaner air, a healthy economy, national security, a smaller deficit and a stronger dollar, green jobs, better jobs, energy independence, warmth and light and transportation. These are the reasons Chesapeake champions natural gas every day.
Wilsey, Meyer, Eatman, Tate. We're accountants. We do taxes, business valuations, estate planning, and consulting. And we're right here in Oklahoma, working with the owners of small and medium-sized businesses. Steve Wilsey and Stuart Meyer have the resources and the experience. Wilsey, Meyer, Eatman, Tate in Oklahoma City and Tulsa.
Welcome back to The Verdict. Kent Myers, Mick Cornett will be back with us next week, I promise, and I've already apologized to our guest for Mick's absence, but he will be back next week. We're pleased to welcome back to The Verdict one of our special guests, Dr. Glen Johnson, the Chancellor and CEO of the Regents for Higher Education. Dr. Johnson has quite a background that certainly, as I indicated in the opening, eminently qualifies him to have this very difficult and challenging position. At the University of Oklahoma, he was an honor graduate, was Phi Beta Kappa, was the outstanding senior in his graduating class, went on to a distinguished law school career where he got his JD degree. He has taught law at the University of Oklahoma. He has been involved in the political sector as well, rising to the position of being Speaker of the House of Representatives from 90 to 96. At the time he was selected as Speaker of the Oklahoma House of Representatives, he was the youngest speaker in the nation. More recently, he has been president of Southeastern Oklahoma State University in Durant, and in 2007 was selected as Chancellor for the Regents for Higher Education, and since that time has served in that capacity. Welcome back, Chancellor.
Well, great to be here, Kent.
We really appreciate it. I know you got a lot to do and appreciate your time.
You bet.
I want to first of all call up a graphic because this I got this off your website, so it shouldn't be any surprise to you. There's higher education with a belt that looks like it is tightening. Tell us about that a little bit. Thanks for the graphic.
Well, in this economic downturn, we understand that we have to take a lead in the effort to tighten our belts, and we're very proud of what we've been able to do. All 25 colleges and universities, Kent. We have made an effort, and over the next 2-year period, we'll save over $73 million through a variety of cost-saving measures. Energy conservation, University of Oklahoma will be going completely to wind power by 2013. Oklahoma State University has a similar initiative for compressed natural gas. Several of our regional universities, University of Central Oklahoma, Northeastern, have gone to wind power. And most institutions have employed energy retrofit projects where they go in and retool buildings and retool their energy programs to save money. In addition to that, we've instituted hiring freezes, travel freezes on most of our campuses, almost all of our campuses. Last summer, many institutions went to a 4-day work week, 10-hour days, early retirement initiatives, and overall, we've put together an impressive set of cost savings measures that total over $73 million. We think it's important. We obviously are going to the legislature and the governor again this year. We've had record enrollment to ask for additional resources, but we think it's important to let them know that we're doing all that we can to conserve and to save during this environment that we're in economically.
Well, the thing that struck me as kind of extraordinary in your situation is that a typical business person or lawyer may have to cut back because business is down. You're having to cut back, but your business is up, if you will, from the standpoint of increased enrollment. Can you tell our viewers about your enrollment?
Well, we've experienced record enrollment last fall and again this spring. Over 10,000 new students have come into our system, and that normally would require us to add faculty to accommodate the increased enrollment, add course sections, but in this budget environment, we actually are, as you mentioned, we're having to cut budgets. So that really puts a lot of pressure on our administrators and on our system. We're being asked to do more with less, and for a certain period of time we can do that, but over the long haul, that doesn't happen without cutting into our ability to do what we do very well, and that's provide a great academic product to our students at a very affordable cost. So we're very concerned about it, and again, record enrollment is something that you strive for. We want to continue our efforts to have more college graduates, and to do that, the first step in that process is to have more students come into the system. So we're doing what we need to be doing, but with the budget downturn, it's creating some real stress on the system.
Well, what comfort do you have that the quality of educational product is not going to be significantly diminished because of the cutback in expenses?
Ken, what we try to do as we've made these budget cuts is do everything we can to not involve directly the students in these cuts. Unfortunately, when you get to a cut of 5, 6, 7%, and you do that over a period of months, it's very hard to do that. We've tried to make our reductions, our hiring reductions in the administrative area, but to be candid, we can't go very long without cutting into the quality of the product and frankly impacting negatively those opportunities that we offer to students. So we're concerned about it, and I might say the legislature and the governor have responded well. We last year, with the help of stimulus money, actually had a slight increase in our operational budgets, and again this year they've given us a supplemental appropriation which acknowledges the fact that we have more students in our system and on our campuses, and that's most appreciated by all of our colleges and universities, the fact that they've acknowledged that we've got more students on campus this year.
I guess that brings us to another point. Of course, 10,000 more students, a very significant number of them will be paying tuition.
Right.
And I guess that points up the fact that tuition is not equal to cost.
That's right. That's exactly right. We are making an effort this year, and in fact, we're one of the very few states in the nation. We told or asked the governor and the legislature last year if we were able to get a minimum increase in operational funding. We promised that we would make every effort to freeze tuition and not increase tuition. And we were one of the few states in the nation to do that. By virtue of freezing tuition last year, Oklahoma now has the distinction of being the 7th most affordable state in the United States as far as tuition, fees, housing, and all related costs to going to college. So we feel very good about that, and we feel that making college affordable continues to be one of our top priorities.
Now, this is not new for you because you've been a college president before you were chancellor. Is this unique from a standpoint of severity insofar as what you've seen?
It really is. As far as the budget cuts,
yes.
I span now about 28 years. I was elected to the legislature in 1982, and of course we went through the economic downturn in the mid-'80s, and then I've had 10 years, as you mentioned, as president of Southeastern Oklahoma State University. This is the toughest budget I've seen, and it's the toughest for an extended period. I think we're looking at some very severe cutbacks, and again, that causes a lot of difficulty when we're in a growth environment in higher education. But it's as hard and as tough as anything I've ever seen, Ken.
Well, it's one of your missions, is it not, from the standpoint of the Regents for Higher Education, to be good stewards over the state dollar that you receive?
It is. We take that responsibility very seriously.
And that's not new. That's always been the responsibility.
We believe that's what we need to do. Thus, we've instituted these cost-saving measures that I mentioned earlier that will come to over $73 million. We also encourage our faculty to bring external money to the table. And we have a very extensive grant writing program where we bring federal dollars and private dollars back into the higher education equation, if you will, through grant writing. And we encourage that. We provide incentives to our faculty and our staff that engage in grant writing, and that's another way to help us help ourselves, and that's very important as well. But if you look at the economic impact of higher education in the state, for every dollar that's appropriated to higher education, $5.15 is returned back to the state's economy. We had a study last year that said the economic impact of higher education in Oklahoma last year exceeded $3.2 billion. So we are one of the major engines that drives the economy, and certainly we understand that responsibility to be good stewards of the taxpayers' dollars, and we believe we've done that. We believe higher education is really the best investment that our public policy makers can make.
One could make that argument that if they'd give you more money, we'd be out of the recession quicker.
Well, I do think we're uniquely situated to, if you look at what the state's goals are, it continues to be to improve education and create jobs. And I think we can make a very strong case that there's not an entity in government that can help the state achieve those goals quicker or better or more comprehensively than higher education can. So we make that argument and we believe it.
Well, you're the chairman of the Regents is who this year?
The chairman of our state regents this year is Regent Stuart Price from Tulsa.
And you have how many regents?
We have 9 regents.
Appointed all by the governor?
By the governor for 9-year terms.
9-year terms. And the most recent?
The most recent addition to the regents is Mike Turpin from Oklahoma City. Was appointed last April by Governor Henry.
That will enliven your meetings.
It already has.
Well,
he's a great addition to the team.
Well, I'm sure he is, because he's a thoughtful, interested, nice guy.
He is.
Let's take a break. We'll have our sponsors tell us a few things, and then we'll be right back.
Great.
You're watching The Verdict with Dr. Glen Johnson. We'll be right back.
I'm Beulah Shavney, and I'm an original member of the Women's Army Auxiliary Corps, and I'm Chickasaw. I worked at the Phoenix Indian Hospital for a year, and then there was the war. I felt like it was my duty I wanted in the Army, so I made it, got in, and it was a good feeling to put that uniform on. We were one of a kind that started something, and finished it. To see these women go in today, they are really doing a great job. And I'm very proud to look back now and see that I was one of the first ones of the Army that went in. There is just something that stands out about Chickasaw women. They want to go as far as they can go and succeed. I've got to do my best because I'm Chickasaw.
What's your idea of security? A good-paying, sustainable job, a solid economy, less dependence on foreign energy? We can achieve it with the help of one industry, American oil and natural gas. It creates energy, jobs, and a strong economic base we can rely on. New technologies open vast reserves that will supply our energy needs far into the future. Because security, by every definition, is worth protecting.
Welcome back to The Verdict. Kent Myers, Mick Cornett will be back next week. We're visiting this week with Dr. Glen Johnson, the Chancellor of the Regents for Higher Education in Oklahoma. Chancellor, talk about the appropriation process in Oklahoma for higher education to get its resources, its funds.
Well, the way it works in Oklahoma, and Oklahoma is rather unique among the 50 states, we have a process in Oklahoma where constitutionally, through an amendment that the voters approved in 1941, state regents were created, and the legislature can actually appropriates money to the state regents, who then appropriate and allocate those monies and those dollars to the 25 colleges and universities based on a funding formula and a variety of other factors. But it rests the responsibility with the state regents and me and my office in making those decisions for the priority allocation of funds to our colleges and universities. So it's a very good way to do it. It allows us to utilize data in making those decisions and to provide for a coordinated system of higher education, which obviously helps our students in the final analysis.
Well, one thing you mentioned to me on the break that we had not talked about on air, but I would like to, and that's the race to the top. Tell us about the race to the top.
Well, as a part of the federal stimulus money that has come or is available for all 50 states, there are dollars that will be available, and Oklahoma is one of the states that are competing for those dollars. Governor Henry appointed former Mayor of Tulsa, Kathy Taylor, to head up this initiative involving certainly common education and career tech and higher education to try and put together an application, which we've done now and submitted, to make the case for how we can further improve our system of education all the way from kindergarten to the collegiate level. We've been involved. One of the initiatives that we are very interested in is our adult degree completion initiative, Kent. We found out utilizing data several years ago that we have over 70,000 students in this state that have 72 hours or more towards a degree, but they don't have their degree.
And that's about what kind of percent toward a degree of 72 hours? About
well,
two-thirds?
It's probably two-thirds, just about two-thirds. And so what we've done is put together with our regional universities a program that is tailored to that adult student, where they can take a combination of online courses and face-to-face instruction and get their degree. And obviously when they do that, they're more valuable not only to themselves but to their state as well. We are still below the national average in terms of the percentage of our citizens with college degrees, and this adult degree completion initiative is one of the initiatives that we have that will help us close that gap, and we know why it's important. All the states that have a higher percentage of their citizens with degrees are the states that have the higher per capita incomes. They're the states with the stronger economies, and that's obviously where we want to be. So the adult degree completion initiative was one of the things that we brought to the table in the discussion on Race to the Top, and we're very hopeful that Oklahoma, we know we've submitted a strong application, should be hearing something probably in March or April, but we're very hopeful that we will receive some federal dollars as a result of that application.
Do you have any sense of what it might be, about what size stimulus might be awarded?
Again, not completely. It can be in the several millions of dollars, so it's a significant outlay of money, and certainly there's going to be keen competition, but we believe, I think the coordination between, headed up by Kathy Taylor, former mayor of Tulsa, but the coordination between higher education, common education, and career tech was strong. And the more we work together, whether it be on an application like this or frankly on other initiatives, the state always is the beneficiary when we're able to get together and pool our collective resources to help students.
I think our viewers would come away with the idea that we have a pretty strong system in Oklahoma, not only from the very youngest. We did a show several weeks ago with Ramona Paul, the Oklahoman of the Year, on early childhood education and starting the 4-year-olds into school before kindergarten, all the way up to the highest level. That's got to augur well for our chances.
It does, and congratulations to Ramona Paul. That was a great achievement for her, and you're exactly right. We've got to start the early childhood initiative, and frankly, our governor and legislature has made that a priority, taking it all the way through to our college level. We've got to have a strong system every step of the way if we're going to be competitive. The one thing we know for sure, Kent, that in this new global economy that we're in, and there's no question that we are in the global economy, 90% of the jobs in this new global economy will require a college degree. So we take our responsibility very seriously to give our students the tools that they need to critically think, to analyze, and to problem solve, where when they do get their degrees, they will be competitive as they go into the job market.
in comparison to surrounding states or whatever measure you'd like to use, how affordable are Oklahoma colleges and universities as opposed to the same in other states?
Well, we believe we're very affordable. We had a study that just came out earlier this year that ranked the costs of college in our 50 states. And in that study, the state of Oklahoma was ranked the 7th most affordable state in the nation. And frankly, that study was done even before we put together our tuition freeze for this year. So in all likelihood, we will even be more affordable next year than we were this year. But that's a great distinction. If we're going to achieve our goals, if we're going to have more college graduates, we've got to keep college affordable. And we do this through a variety of scholarship and financial aid options that we make available to our students. One of the key scholarships, Kent, is the Oklahoma Promise Scholarship. If you think for just a moment, the legislature authorized it about 12 years ago, and during this last decade, the scholarship has grown from participation by about 1,500 students to now over 19,000 students participate in this program.
And what does it offer to the students?
Well, it offers tuition to go to the college of their choice. If the students
full tuition?
Yes, if the students will, they have to sign up beginning in the 8th grade, and if they sign up for Oklahoma's Promise, if their parents meet the income requirements, if they make a 2.5 grade point average in high school, if they take the core curriculum of courses in high school to prepare them for college, and they're not a disciplinary problem, the state of Oklahoma will pay for their college tuition. And the legislature and Governor Henry 2 years ago made it an even stronger program by making and dedicating a permanent revenue source for Oklahoma's Promise. Now, it's the first item funded in state government every year. And if you think about it symbolically, that sends a very strong signal that making sure that the students that have demonstrated they can achieve in college, the state of Oklahoma is saying that they want to give those students a chance to go to college. It's a very strong statement.
And you may have said it, and I didn't pick up on it, but about how many students, well, for instance, today do we have in our colleges that are on that program?
Our numbers for this year show that we will exceed 19,000 students in our state system. So this scholarship can be a transformational scholarship for our students in this state. And really, it's looked upon by other states as one of the most successful college access programs in the country. So this is another one where hats off to our governor and our legislature for doing something that is truly life-changing for our students.
Insofar as enrollment is concerned, you're up 10,000 this year. Do you have any projections or ideas or assumptions about what next year and the year after are going to look like from standpoint of enrollment?
Well, we believe if you look, sometimes it's helpful to look at what we've done over the last decade to make those projections. And we've experienced right at a 10% enrollment increase over the last decade, which now places us in the top 10 states in the country as far as a percentage increase. So we have reason to believe, our data shows that we're going to consistently have those increases in enrollment. Again, this year is a record number, and they always say when there's a downturn in the economy, you enjoy a little bit of a bump in enrollment. But I think more than anything else, our students are seeing that a college degree is what they need. They need a college degree to compete in the economy. They need a college degree to enhance their career goals, and more students are turning to college as an option that's the most viable option that they have.
And that's available and affordable in Oklahoma.
Absolutely.
Chancellor, we're out of time. Thank you so much for joining us. You've been watching Dr. Glen Johnson on The Verdict, talking about higher education in Oklahoma. We'll be right back.
It's time to meet the new people in power.
The people responsible for our energy future.
It's you.
It's me. All of us together.
From now on, we're the people in power.
OG&E will supply the power.
It's how we apply the power that counts.
We've got to use electricity smarter,
Wiser.
Cleaner.
Better.
So we've got to be informed,
Equipped.
prepared.
Committed.
From now on.
Look, nobody wants to waste energy.
Nobody wants to build new power plants.
Nobody wants to pay more for electricity.
But nobody wants to give up their way of life.
We don't have to.
If we just use positive energy together.
I'll take advantage of off-peak hours.
That means cutting energy use from 1 to 7 every day.
Every day.
I'm going to sign up for more and more wind power.
We'll take advantage of the high-tech tools coming soon from OG&E.
OG&E can't do it alone.
It's you and OG&E working together.
Find dozens of ways you can help at OGE.com.
A positive energy future is in our power. Together.
And Blankenship has stopped at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. Leaving it 4th and 7 on the Tiger 46-yard line. 38 seconds on the clock. The Tigers have no choice but to go. Wiggins in to do the kicking. Here's the snap. And the kick is away.
The good life comes naturally to Tulsa, where nature's beauty is matched with an eye for aesthetics. A legacy of neighborhoods graced with lawns and landscaping and handsome homes. A place that seems to have patented an ideal lifestyle. Bank First is loyal to the quality of life Tulsa assures its citizens, to the priority placed on education, culture, and growth. Loyal to builders who transform raw land into residential charm. Developers who see opportunity and add vitality to Tulsa's economy. Bank First serves both enterprise and private lives that need a loyal partner. It's how we help nurture this city's very good life. Bank First. Loyal to Oklahoma. Loyal to you.
The Journal-Record is pleased to be a sponsor of The Verdict. The Journal-Record, since 1903, the best source of Oklahoma business news and legal information.
And for almost 30 years, Oklahoma political, government, and business leaders have turned to the McCarville Report for accurate, reliable, inside information. Visit the McCarville Report online.
Welcome back to The Verdict. Kent Myers sitting in for Mick Cornett, who will be back next week. Thanks so much to Chancellor Glen Johnson for joining us on The Verdict. He's the CEO of the Regents for Higher Education. They have a huge responsibility and they're carrying it out beautifully for the citizens of Oklahoma. A couple of websites I'd like to direct you to. First to Chancellor Johnson's, okhighered.org. And of course, for ours, theverdict.tv. Let us know what you'd like to see, and we will see you next week.
The preceding program was produced exclusively for the Cox Channel.